mash in on my Hop Cholent or Hop Stew Double IPA. So I have about 17.5 pounds of grain here. So I'm going to slowly pour in the grains as usual. And pour a little bit at a time. So now I'm going to add in my brewing salts. I have about 7 grams of gypsum and 3 to 4 grams of calcium chloride. So it's balanced in a way of the gypsum, which is known to accentuate hop. So I have my pH meter, which I just calibrated, having not used it in a while. So I recalibrated it for 7 and 4 acid and base. So I put it all in there. My scale was a little wonky in terms of the amounts, so we'll see what the pH is. I've never really done so much grams measuring on my food scale, so I'm just gonna hope to, hope to God that I don't have too low of a pH. But for such a big grain bill, I don't think it should be that much of an issue. Just gotta mix those salts in well through it and well integrate them into the mash. And then I'll take a pH reading. Guys, so after leaving it for a little over an hour at 148, I adjusted the pH and got it to like 5.4, which is, between 5.2 and 5.4 is the lower range for mashing. And I was pretty satisfied with that. I had to add a little more gypsum and calcium chloride in, which was a little nerve-wracking because I haven't done so much of it before, where I had to balance both salts, or minerals I should say. But my next goal is to ramp up the temp for 10 minutes just to make sure all the conversion, goes through. So I'm going to ramp it up to 154 with a gallon or so of 188 degree Fahrenheit water. I'm going to pour most of it in and stir it, because I did add a little cold water to the 1 gallon that I was heating up because it got too hot. So I'm just going to stir that in carefully. And then see where we're at. So we're at 152.4, which is a decent amount of, up into a normal, sack rest range, which would be average for like an IPA beer. So I'm going to go ahead, and because most of the conversion is done already, I'm not going to add any more hot water and I have to readjust my mash out and my sparge. So I'm just going to put the cover on for another 10 minutes or so at 152.4 or 5. And then we'll go from there. Cheers. Okay, so because I didn't use rice hulls for the wheat malt that I added in, I'm gonna do, even though that second pitcher was clearer, and I'm liking the color a lot, it's a nice golden color, I'm still gonna do a third pitcher, just to clarify the work just that much more. And I can already tell by looking down here. Just take you guys off the tripod to give you a better view. Just looking down here, you can already see that the wort going into the pitcher is a lot clearer. So I'm really confident that it's gonna that doing a third one is the right decision, even though I usually only do 2.
Take my bed and make it your own. Still I won't get busy. See, I don't mind if you don't mind.
Hey guys, so we're here for the original gravity post boil now. And again, instead of turning you guys around like I usually do and putting the lens into my refractometer, I decided to take a few pictures for myself of the reading as it got up to room temperature, which I recommend doing for you guys. To, you know, take your reading, you know, get settled with it, and then wait a couple minutes for it to cool, for the wort that's on here to cool down, because sometimes it will go up 2 points or so. So originally it was at 178. I was like, oh shit, I missed my numbers by 6 points. But then I waited a couple minutes, took another couple pictures, and the final picture, which I'll show you zoomed in here in the video, is at closer to 180. So even though I missed my number by 6 points, I'm not so worried, because I was kind of getting worried that it would be a 9.3% ABV double IPA on tap. Even though it'll probably be good, I wouldn't drink as much of it. So now, if it ferments down from 1080 to about 1016 or 1017, it'll be around 8.5% anyway, which is perfect for having a double IPA on tap. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm going to go finish cooling the wort down, get it to the fermenter, and show you pitching the yeast. Alright, so we've aerated the wort, as you see, with my trusty hanger contraption on my drill. And then put that back on top. What I've done is, because my apartment's been a little warm recently from the radiator, I kept my yeast starter on the stir plate in my fermentation fridge, as you can see, so that it would stay in the low 70s, which is about room temperature, and I wouldn't have to worry about anything happening to it, you know, from getting way too warm in my apartment between brew day and the radiator. So what I'm going to do here now is I'm going to take off the padding that I used to insulate the probe, and I could probably reuse that to put on my fermenter, and then take off the probe itself. And one interesting thing about this yeast strain, which is the Y yeast 1272, is that there's a really nice, beautiful krausen on top of the yeast cake, which means that a good amount of fermentation went on during the 20 or 21 hours of since I made it, or pitched the yeast. So what I'm going to do is pull up the stir bar out. I'm going to slosh around all that yeast to get all the yeast in that krausen back into solution. And this is about a 2-liter starter, maybe a little over 2 liters with the smack pack and everything in it. So I collected a little over 5.5 gallons, and I had to take out a little bit because I really wasn't in the mood to cold crash the yeast starter like I've been doing the past few times. It just gets annoying waiting to pitch till the next day. I'd just rather have brew day done with. So again, swirl it around and then take off our tin foil lid and pour in our nice beautiful American Ale 2 yeast starter. And at the end, as usual, just slosh it around even more. So we're back for yet another unscheduled, this time, fermentation update. I did not expect this one to barf out like this, but I mean, I guess this is what happens when you have a vigorous fermentation and combined with a really full overfilled fermenter. So you have a nice hoppy smelling white foam pouring out. It's not dark this time like it was with my breakfast stout because of course a lighter colored beer. So I'm going to go ahead and get this cleaned up and then I'll show you a before and after picture afterwards. Cheers.